What's going on, everybody? It's your host of the Blasting Thoughts podcast, and I'm here to let you know if you've been thinking about starting your own podcast but don't know where to go, then look no further, because Anchor is a tool for you. Anchor is a free podcast distribution site that allows you to record your podcasts, and you can edit them on the site yourself, and then you can upload them. They'll even help expand your podcast to more platforms just by a click of a button, distribute them to other platforms such as Spotify or Apple. And if you want to make money from podcasting, Anchor helps with that too by helping you get ads you can promote on your podcast, just like what I'm doing right now. So look no further and go download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and start your podcasting journey today. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Lasting Thoughts podcast. I am your host, Digital Relaxation, and we are here again with episode 14. This episode is I'm not gonna try to keep ranging how long and short these episodes are gonna be. I have a set of topics. I'm just gonna go with it. But yeah. But as always, feel free to share this podcast with friends and anyone who would like to listen to these things. Follow me on Instagram as Digi_relaxation. Digi as DIGI_relaxation. YouTube and my Twitch is Digital Relaxation. You can message me on my Instagram for if you guys have questions or topics you would like to have brought up on the podcast. I am open to that, as I have some things that I usually asked of me and I try to talk about it in my podcast. Yeah. As for the usual, what's been going on with me, I won't say not a lot, but it's a lot of things in motion. I want to say a lot of things have happened. There's a lot of things happening right now in my life that I'm in the phase of just getting things starting and I guess get the gears rolling. So that's where I'm at with that in terms of like my YouTube channel. I am going to be trying to change like the content I'm putting on there. So I'm working on a big project and I'm getting close to finishing the first step of it. Then I gotta do the rest of it and go on from there. But yeah, personal life things such as that. The weather has been slowly getting better. Seems we're getting towards the end of winter. The time zone has changed, daylight saving, so adjusting to that. Gonna be seeing the sun a lot longer than usual. Maybe good for some people. It don't really matter for me because of the timing I do things in my life. But yeah, but it seemed like the winter definitely, like, it's really trying to give it everything it's got type situation. Like, it's just been getting real windy or real chilly, even though it's like beautiful sunny outside, but it's just extremely windy and strong winds. It's just like giving you a reason to still be cold and bundle up outside. But I feel like it's definitely getting close to the end of that. It's gonna see what the summer has to offer us in terms of the weather. I also recently actually binge watched the WandaVision series from the Marvels, and it's weird. It feels like it does two things for me, which is one, it just, of course, that's one thing I always notice about pretty much all the Marvel films. Like, after pretty much Avengers happened, like, every movie just feels like set up. Like, there's no this is never a complete story. Like, you can't watch this movie without the setup of the previous movie, and then knowing that this movie is just setting up the next movie or setting up the next situation. It just don't feel like there's no complete closed chapter. Most of the villains is either like some of them don't die, then the ones that do die is not really all that important. Then there's the ones that's just they're just kept somewhere for safekeeping or something. Like, I'm not sure a lot of people even know that Abomination from Incredible Hulk, like, he's still around. They just have him like kept in, like, I think a cryospace type situation, like how they did with Cap. But yeah, the fact that he's still around, in case they was ever gonna like bring that story up again, I guess. But yeah, so that show just, I'm not really going to be spoiling anything. I'm just giving my general thoughts of how I feel about it. But yeah, so I just feel like it's just setting up a lot of things that's gonna be happening later on in the future, and it does. Well, I guess this is gonna be a slight spoiler, but it retcons Wanda's backstory. If we seen Age of Ultron, you knew that she got her powers along with her brother from the stone when they were being experimented on. But the show basically hints that she always had it, and the stone just amplified it. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like, they're like, it seems like the Marvel franchise is trying to get more closer to either people are just born with it or they had a freak accident like that changes them to become better. But yeah, like, but that's been about it. So for today's episode, I want to talk about something that's very important to me, something that's becoming more important to me in my life as I've gotten through my phases, which is self-love and your self-worth. I myself dealt with a good amount of time, like a good amount of years of not loving myself, like just not being comfortable with who I am. Like, there's been plenty of times mostly my teen years of like changing my style or being influenced by things that other people like, I guess, to fit in and be like them instead of just being like me. Which I always noticed that like there was like always two sides to me. Like, one second I could be cool with one group of people, and the next second I could be cool with another group of people, because like I can just like always fit into what others are accustomed to and stuff. But it's like it's never been about me and what I like, I guess, if that makes sense. And then of course just been physically just not liking myself. The amount of times like waking up in the morning or anytime I like walk past a mirror, and I always try to avoid eye contact with my reflection. Like, I never like looking at myself, and I just couldn't stand who I was, or just didn't like who I was, or why I was who I was, that type thing. Like, I don't know, it was just a lot of mixed feelings about being me, especially when there's a lot of outside forces, I guess, like friends, family, close ones, that they all have like their own way of life, and it's like when you're alone, you have your life, and you notice that a lot of people in your life don't share your like views or share the things you like, and it's hard for you to share that with them because they won't understand it. So you're just left to always having to be, you have to make a decision to like, I gotta like hide who I am so I can enjoy myself around other people because they don't like or understand what it is I like. So I gotta fit into what they like, and the amount of times always being questioned about things in my life or being taunted about things in my life that I'm not doing or I haven't done that other people have done. It's like trying to normalize certain things in my life that shouldn't matter to me personally. Like there's been a lot of things like I don't personally believe in being, I guess, important to me, but a lot of people will push it in your face or talk to you about it as if it should be important. And it's like, now you're gonna be sitting alone with yourself with these thoughts about, am I doing something wrong with my life? Am I really like a failure? Am I worthless? It's just a lot. I've dealt with these feelings for close to 10 years now, and it took me losing pretty much a lot. Like it took me not losing, but I had to walk away from someone that was very important to me. And I also noticing that I just wasn't liking my hobbies anymore. I wasn't enjoying the things I did in my life anymore, and I had to walk away from someone that I felt like I was only hurting myself by trying to portray something that I wasn't to this person. So I had to step back from them, and I literally had to sit with myself for a while. Like I literally just turned everything off. Like I wasn't on my computer, I wasn't on my phone. I just had to spend time with myself, and I had to do it as a test because usually those are the worst moments, especially for people who suffer with depression and such. Like when you're alone with yourself, those are when those negative thoughts want to come in the most, especially when it's like when you want to go to sleep. Like the amount of times I kept myself awake with thoughts. So it was finally, I guess, a way to test myself to see what will happen now, because I used to always have distractions with me. Like even when I'm going to sleep, I always have something to distract me so I won't have to be left alone with my thoughts. So like how will this go, I guess. And this was right around the time I was already listening to podcasts, like probably a year or two before this. But you notice, I guess, when signs hit you, I guess when the universe give you signs. I was hearing specific episodes from different podcasts, but they all touched on similar topics at the same time, and I'm just sitting here like, and I'm starting to notice things myself. Like someone in a podcast was asked by a co-host if they were happy now after dealing with their depression, and they stood there for a second and realized, they were like, now that you say it, like it's probably been the first time in a long time I really noticed that I have not been thinking negative of myself or of my life. And I sat there and started thinking about that too. I was like, I don't know if it's because of the distractions I had or what, but I recently have felt like I have not been doing that myself either. So I guess I wanted to prove that myself by removing all the distractions and all the things in my life that would keep my mind basically avoiding myself. So I sat there and dealt with it, and I legit sat there and realized how like this, I think I'm finally comfortable with being with myself and being with my thoughts. Like, this isn't no longer terrifying no more. So that started gradually going into like more self-appreciation. I started appreciating just being with myself. As time went on, changing from always keeping my head down when I pass a reflection to now it's like sometimes I just look at myself and I just like smile, like, damn, that's you. Like, I don't know, like I'm more happy being me now. Not definitely like, yeah, definitely grown to love myself a lot more now. But I feel I mean, everyone's journey is different as well. I also noticed something. I don't want to say strange, but the moment, like shortly after I started getting more comfortable with myself and dealing with my own issues, I started talking to other people again, and I realized that I started attracting a lot more people who basically like dealing with all the things I was dealing with. I mean, everyone had their own situation, but like everyone had their own reasons for not loving themselves or being depressed and not confident in who they are anymore. And it was like so weird because it was like literally like not that long ago, it was like I could have been in this circle with you guys, and it's like I'm the one that's standing out now, and it feels weird because I don't want to portray myself as, well guys, I know it all, I have all the questions, I mean all the answers to your questions. I'm still learning to do this myself. Like I'm still learning, like I was still learning to smile, like genuinely, not because I'm trying to hide. It's not time to put on my smiling mask. So it's like I can talk to these people. Most of these people are now, some of these people are my close friends now. And like I don't try to like make every day like, all right guys, like today's the day I'm gonna help you with your, it's like if it ever comes to a time when that's what we talk about, we'll talk about it. I always share them my like the things I dealt with and my point of view and how maybe they can twist their situation to something different. I mean, I can't tell everybody to say, hey, you're just gonna have to throw yourself in a room by yourself and deal with it. Like, not everyone probably aren't ready for that yet. Like I said, it took me 9 years to get to that point. Like, some of these people are still dealing with this like 3 years ago. This is still fresh in their mind. So but I noticed that I do want to help I guess increase that progression. Like, knowing that I dealt with this for damn near 10 years, knowing that you are dealing with it, I don't want you to deal with this for 10 years. If I can speed up that process, I would love to try. But yeah, I guess it's like I don't want to be like, comes great power comes great responsibility, or that quote from Spider-Man in Civil War, where he basically talked about, you know, now that you have these abilities to do a certain thing and you feel like if you don't use it, it's your fault. Like, now that I have been to the other side and back and now that I'm meeting people who are on that other side, I would kind of feel crappy just sitting there watching them just vent out all the frustration. I'm just like sitting there sipping my tea like, oh, that sucks, sorry to hear that. Instead I could just give them whatever advice or opinions or thoughts I can, which is also part of why I'm also doing this podcast. I mean, I can't reach everyone, but if it's possible that the right person hear this episode specific, it don't have to be all my episodes, but who knows, like the right person hear this episode and something resonates with them, that'd be amazing. So, but yeah, that's also great. Why you guys should share this. Maybe there's someone you know who may need to hear it, and you guys felt like you didn't know how to properly tell them yourselves. Like, not everyone have the words. Like I said, I still don't feel like I know everything. I don't want you guys to take this as me knowing everything. I don't have the blueprints to cure depression or any form of mental illness or stuff, but I do know that self-love is very important, and I definitely learned that mostly when I had to walk away from someone important to me, because it gave me time to reflect, and I tried to put myself in their shoes of why things wasn't right between us. I can know from my point of view, things can always look one way, so I'll try to think of another way. And I like, once again, like the universe, like I was listening to specific music at the time, I was seeing specific things at the time, and it was as if media was speaking to me through this person, and I was like, so that's what it was like for you. I get it now. And we aren't even speaking to each other directly, but it's like, you know, like their feelings and thoughts transferred to other source of media and came directly to me at the right time. And I was like, damn, I get it. I messed up. Like, especially when like dating females or talking to females, and it's like some people don't want to admit certain things, but I think I got to the point where I admit that I think I was probably an abusive person to be with, emotionally abusive. I would definitely have a lot of conflict with females, mostly because they don't see things the way I do, and I guess I was trying to force them to do that instead of just, you know, just letting them be them. And yeah, so I realized that when I did that with this person, they saw through it in a different way that the other people couldn't. And yeah, I guess it like humbled me in a way that I can look back, you know, look at myself and say, I can't blame other people for everything. Like, when things go wrong in a relationship, what did I do wrong? And I started to realize what I was doing wrong. So I fixed, well, I won't say I fixed that, but I just been working on improving that. And shortly after we reconnected, my friendship again, and yeah, it's like timing and everything was just working at the right time. And to this day, that person is a very close friend to me still, and it's definitely a lot better and a lot healthy than originally. So, I mean, don't be afraid to also like look at yourself as a form of blame for certain situations. I'm not gonna say for every situation. There's a lot of situations that people been through that may have been dealt by others, and sometimes you can't really blame yourself for that one. So it's just always nice to always look at things from every perspective and realize certain things. For me, that was one of them. And then of course learning that loving yourself is definitely a key component to loving another person. I mean, yeah, it's like it's one of those just like typical phrases of like, you know, how can you love someone if you don't even know how to love yourself? How can you take care of a child if you can't even take care of yourself? It's just a lot of, you know, you need to always deal with yourself first before you can deal with another person. It's a big step of like, I don't think people 100% realize how important it is to play both, like to play your role in a friendship that's not like you're not trying to make someone into what you feel they should be to be your friend, instead of like, oh, I like this guy because he's himself, not because he's me or she's me. But yeah, like knowing that I'm comfortable with myself, I know, I guess learning what I like and trying to learn about things that I like again, learning that there's other new things that I like as well. Like it just adds to the list of like, okay, this is how I work. Now if I'm dealing with someone else, they will, like, you know, like it's like having I guess a manual that comes with you, like this is me, this is how I work, this is what makes me tick. So it's like I don't want you to be oblivious to how to deal with me. Like the people that go into relationships blind because, yeah, like, you know, love is blind. They see one thing they like and they get blindsided about the other thing that may really like something that they would dislike about them even more than what they like about them. So definitely, like, it's learning to get yourself in order, learning what you like, learning, you know, making a checklist for yourself, and then being able to be comfortable to move those feelings to another person. So that's where I'm at with that now. Of course, knowing your worth as well, that's something I'm also still dealing with. I mean, not I want to say dealing with, but it's something that I also been like, I've always been someone who felt like there should be more to me, but I never had the, like I said, I never had the self-confidence or the self-love to know how to go about it. Like, I wanted to do this podcast since, I want to say probably 2016, the latest. And the reason why the delay is mostly because I wasn't confident in myself. I wasn't comfortable with talking into a mic like by myself like that. I wanted to do it with co-hosts. Maybe I'd be comfortable if someone else was there to back me, but like I said, signs and timing, like most of the people I wanted to work with at the time period, their schedules were conflicting with mine, or whatever the case may be. It wasn't the right time, and I finally got to the point where it's like, I can do this now. So knowing that I can do this, knowing what I can do, and knowing what I enjoy doing, it's like I want to go for it. There should be no reason, there shouldn't be anyone or anything to stop me from doing what I love or that makes me happy. So that's where I'm going. I'm trying to just push forward with that in my life and just I guess work with the best. I mostly learned about like knowing my worth mainly through dealing with other people, mostly like work situations. Like, I've definitely learned that I just don't like authority, and it's not so much authority, I just don't like, I've learned I guess a pet peeve of mine, I just don't like being told what to do. I just feel like if you have to constantly keep telling me what to do, you're insulting me that I didn't get it or I don't understand. And I don't know, that just bugs me. And it's like, usually there's a boss and there's a leader. Usually a boss is the one who's going to point his finger and tell you what to do, and the leader is going to work with you and show you how it's done. And there aren't a lot of leaders in my life. I could probably count on one hand how many there are. So I've dealt with too many, I guess, boss mentality people to realize that I am much better than this. I don't want to believe that I'm better than people, but I'm better than my situation, and I should try to go for a better situation. So that's where I'm at with that now. And I also have a question today. I was asked about how do I keep myself positive and motivated when things are bad. That's a lot. It's not a lot, but it's I started to, so it's gonna be a lot of backtracking and storytelling. One thing I learned about myself is especially growing up, is that I am very negatively emotional. Like, I can get sad or angry real quickly compared to like happy. Like, I can get happy quickly too, but it's like the sadness and the anger, it stays with me longer than the happiness. Like, I could laugh at something for like a good few seconds and that's it, but I could be upset about something for like a week and sit there and keep thinking about it. Like, this person really try to like interfere with like, my happiness, and it'll bug me. Like, probably that person, I mentioned this in a previous episode about like, I don't remember what the topic was, but it's like dealing with people who like trying to ruin your peace and such. Like, don't let people control your feelings and stuff. So I gotten better at trying to keep myself stable in terms of like how I show my negative emotions. Like, I try not to get angry anymore. Not to say that I don't, but I don't ever try to get angry to a point of like, I want to hurt someone. I already, like, I feel like I kind of told myself that if someone tries to upset me to the point where it's like it can escalate, I'm just going to walk away. It could be a real life situation or it could be a work situation. Like, I'm not like, I'm making up my mind that I'm not gonna let my sanity and my happiness be at stake over my job. Like, if the job can't deal with this situation, then I'll deal with it myself and I will leave immediately. And that's that. So how I keep myself positive and motivated, I keep myself positive by, well, the usual thinking positive. I mean, I think you should know how you should have things set in your life that keep you in a positive limelight. Like, simple things, like when I'm at work, and usually my job tends to keep me the longest because they are like, they feel they can rely on me the most compared to everyone else. So some people, that's great. Some people, that's like, man, like, I just want to go home. So when there's been a lot of times where I've been kept a lot longer than everyone else already going home, I just look at it like the whole situation. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, yeah, I'm getting money for this. I look at the timing. I'm like, okay, they didn't take up 10 years of my life. It's just like a few minutes to an hour. That's not completely bad. I'm not losing a day of my life. And then I look at certain things like, oh, it's Friday. It's the week. I'm not gonna be doing anything anyway. Once I get home, it's gonna be probably playing video games or whatever, watching TV. So I'm just, why not? Just, it's a bummer when they tell you like everyone's going home and you keeping me here. But then you just think of the positive. Like, you just try to always, I guess, put a scale on everything. Like, is this really worth making you negative compared to everything that could be positive about a situation? I guess like just like taking the example of me having to separate from my friend, like me not talking to that person for a few months was, that was the negative, but the positive was everything that came out of it from me dealing with my self-love and comfort and understanding my flaws and how we came back together to a better and healthier friendship. And it's like, sometimes I guess taking risks you shouldn't be afraid to take risks. You shouldn't let risks, I guess, disturb you. I think that should be the beauty of life. I guess to quote a song, is the best part of waking up is waking up diving into waters that's uncharted. So it's like knowing that, take every day as an adventure. I mean, it's gonna be ups and downs, but how much are you willing to keep the down on your life? Like, how much is you gonna let this part of your day affect everything about your life compared to everything that's probably good that happened that day? So also another thing, like recently I've been dealing with my car. That always annoys me with something wrong with my car. I gotta get it checked. There's a lot of time that goes in with that, and then money, and it's like, all right, but I don't let it destroy me, because like, all right, it's not like, it's not like I am in a terrible position. I've been blessed to be able to financially cover this situation and handle the situation that I then had to like call out for like a day. Like, I basically almost never missed a day like of work because of my car situation. Like, I usually always had it handled at the right moment and right time. So it's just minor obstacles to see. I guess like when knowing that life is testing you, it's like, hey, I'm just gonna throw this wrench in your your way. How you gonna deal with it and move on? How I stay motivated, that always been the issue in my life. It's been mostly my teenage years, being motivated by things, but I think it's not also a form of motivation, but also like, how do I put this? Like, I guess still self-discovering myself, self-discovery and such, like being motivated to still pursue my basketball path I was doing on. It was like, it wasn't so much that like I wasn't motivated to play basketball no more. Like, it just wasn't for me anymore. Like, one thing that I guess used to be an issue for me, and that I'm definitely trying to be more firm about it now, is that I guess when it came to motivation, I always felt like I needed to see people closer to me like doing it with me, so I could be motivated to know that I'm not doing this alone. But I get motivated not only by seeing people doing things with me, but by seeing people that do things that I enjoy and are enjoying it themselves, or just doing things in general. One of the first times I got really motivated was through my close friend. Like, when we first started talking, like within a year, they told me they had a plan, they had a goal, and this was it. And it sounded like a goal that was kind of like, to some people, far-fetched. Like, to the typical person. Like if you had that certain friend, they would probably like self-doubt it or talk down to you about it, like, oh, you ain't doing that. But I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I haven't really heard someone who did that before. And yeah, within the time frame, they just made it happen. I was like, oh, like seeing someone who can be, I guess, really goal oriented and like not fall back on their word, not let anything knock them down. I realized that I needed to be more like that. I needed to really step myself up and do better for myself. Like especially at the end of the day, you gotta do things for you. So if you're not being positive for yourself, you're not being motivated for yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, what is it exactly you're doing? You gotta know every day is about bettering yourself, motivating yourself to do something, especially if you're in a situation where you have to do something for someone else. Like I guess that depends on you and their life, like, or even something simple like, you have a house. That's your motivation to get up and grind. Like I like where I live. I want to stay where I live. I can't slack off. I gotta get with it. So it's just all about what it is you need to be motivated about. Mainly, like, it's all about priorities, what's important to you and what's worth you going for it and giving your best effort for. Like, if you feel like you're not motivated to, like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something really simple that is not completely important. I don't know, something like playing a game with your friends or something. Like, oh, I'm not really motivated to game today, but usually that happens too. Like, you're not motivated to game today and you still hop on just for the sake of them, and then usually it's not a good gaming time. Like, you guys lose a lot, chemistry is just off. Like, don't force yourself to do things that's not too important. Just focus, just prioritize the important things in life, and make sure your goals are set. Negative thoughts is always going to come. Negative feelings, I mean, no yin and yang. There'll always be two sides of the situation. It's a matter of how you deal with it. I personally just try not to let negative things keep me down for too long. Like, it's okay to feel, we're humans, we have feelings, we have the emotion of sadness, we have the emotion of anger, we have the emotion of happiness, excitement, shock, fear. It's okay to feel it, but how long are you willing to let that control certain parts of your life? Like, there's people who still sit there and think about 3 years ago when this happened, and it just like puts them in a bad mood. And it's like, maybe that person who was a part of that situation completely forgot about it the day after it happened, and hey, you are 3 years later still thinking about it. Like, you gotta keep your mental space good. You gotta keep your life pushing. You gotta keep your happiness and your peace going. And yeah, just find things. Hobbies. Definitely find hobbies. Don't try to rely on other people to, I guess, make you feel better. That was a flaw of mine. Find things that you like. If you realize that you like playing video games, I guess, do something else with it. Live stream, record videos. If you realize you like drawing, do something with it. There's people that I've seen who live stream themselves drawing, or post your pictures somewhere publicly, see how other people receive your art. Music, everything, whatever it is you like, you enjoy, just go for it. Make it feel like it's something that makes you happy instead of a task or just something to do to kill time. Like, yeah, you can just play video games just to kill a few hours and then do something else on your next day, or you can do something meaningful with yourself playing video games. So it's all about how you go about things. And yeah, that's mostly what I have for today's episode. Yeah, again, appreciate everyone who listens to this. Share this. Anyone you feel that needs to hear any of this, or yourself. If you have something that you would like for me to talk about on the podcast, or questions to answer, I'm not saying, once again, I'm not saying that I have all the answers, but it's never wrong or bad to get second opinion or different perspective of how people see things. I always like questioning people too. That's kind of a I don't want to say it's a hobby of mine, but it's kind of a fun pastime of mine, just questioning people and seeing how their mind works about certain things. Maybe they think about something different than I do. So yeah. But yeah, you can contact me, follow me on my Instagram, Digi_relaxation, Digi as in DIGI. My YouTube and my Twitch is This2Relaxation. If you listen to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, rate it 5 stars so we can grow and rise and to become the best podcast we can be. And yeah, that's mostly it. Like I mentioned earlier, I am dealing with some things in my life that it's nothing bad, but I have some things that's in motion. So it might be a delay on the next time I upload another episode. So until then, I'll see you guys next episode of the Relaxing Thoughts Podcast. Peace.